Warriors! It's Coach JB, your top health and mindset coach in the world. Remember, what you believe in your heart, you think in your mind will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hand. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. Just like CryptoCito and I coming live every single Wednesday, and we're going to be talking today about manipulation within the market. One thing that I'll talk a little bit about is discipline within the market. This is the time where you need to learn discipline. You need to learn patience, because guess what? You're going to have lots of time like this after it goes into a bear market to be patient, persistent, and start to build that empire as we move forward. So as we always do, CryptoCito, so excited to have you guys here, But before we start, make sure you go to his YouTube channel. It's CryptoCito. And also, is Instagram the same as well?
Twitter. I'm on Twitter. Yeah.
CryptoCito on Twitter, right? It's CryptoCito on Twitter, CryptoCito on YouTube, and we will attach his link down below in the description. So how you doing, man? So I know you're still in Portugal, right? That's where you're at?
Yes, Portugal? Man. Yeah. Thanks for having me back on. I'm still here in Portugal. I was just telling you, man, the weather here is amazing. Every single day, it's literally sunny, blue skies. It's beautiful. Getting back into my routine also with sports, because nice. I was sick a couple of weeks ago, but now I'm fully back into my routines. And I think I really enjoy that, just going outside when it's sunny, leave my phone at home. Don't take anything with me, right? Just go to the gym. It's a nice walk there. Actually go there running and then, have my workout there, enjoy the sun, and then start the day like that. I mean, that's the best thing you can do. Because if you're 24/7 in crypto, it drives you crazy.
Yeah, that's one question I had. I mean, we've talked about what you've done, like you built your, e-commerce business, also your, crypto full time. So what does your day actually look like? Take us through a full day of CryptoCito. Like, are you at your computer all day? Like, what does your day look like?
Yeah, so I'm actually on my computer a lot, but I also start to work more and more from my phone. So just having phone calls and connecting with people, like that's like taking more and more of my time. But usually how I do my day is I wake up not as early as you. I know you wake up super early. That's your warrior and training mentality. But I wake up around 7:30, 8, between that time. But I want to get to wake up earlier, because I know in the morning, if you get things done in the morning, your day is completely different. So yeah, I wake up, do my most urgent and most important task in the morning, from my home. That's where I work usually. Then I head to the gym, enjoy the sun, get my mindset clear for the day, think about, okay, what can I improve? What can I do better? Then sometimes I cook at home. Sometimes I go outside. There's some nice places where I can have nice acai bowls, this Brazilian food. They make it here really nice. And then, the second half of the day, I usually just go outside in cafes, because I don't like to be at one place the whole day.
Right.
I like to be around with people, sit in a nice cafe, have a nice espresso, have nice food there, and just work from there. And I'm meeting more and more people here. So, we hang out together. There's some other guys that do Shopify. There's other guys that also do crypto. So you always have this kind of circle with people, that are doing similar things. And so every day is kind of different, but I do have my routines, but I want to get better at that. So like I said, I started to do my affirmations now in the morning, where I teach myself or condition myself back into those routines. So every day is kind of different. Obviously, whenever crypto goes up and there's more excitement in the markets, it's more fun, right? Because people are more excited and more enthusiastic. So that's the thing, right? My daily work also kind of correlates to the market, right? Even though we always say, look on the long picture, on a long time frame. In the short time frame, people always get emotional. So my day also correlates to that, obviously. But yeah, that's what I do, and I'm spending more and more time just managing the community. I mean, like you do probably, right? Answering questions, getting connected, networking, and I love it. I enjoy it. I get great feedback, so it also motivates me to keep getting better, providing better content, more content. and just get to the next level. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most powerful things as an influencer in the crypto space, right? We have to keep people motivated through these tough times or sideways action, right? Because one of the things I was talking about this morning on our Discord live was this is where the discipline and patience kick in, right? When it's not very exciting, there's a lot of bad news, there's a lot of FUD going on. And so we want to talk specifically about that. You know, the Bitcoin manipulation, you know, could it go back down to 20,000? You know, it's testing, you know, new resistance level. It's like, what do you think is happening with Bitcoin? You know, from my perspective, I know the big money, I showed that interview with the CIO of Soros Foundation when they asked her if she was in Bitcoin recently. She just started, I mean, she uncomfortably started laughing and said, I'm not going to answer that question. And it was like, he said, that's an interesting answer. And it was like, the big money is getting into these cryptocurrencies, right? And so what do you think is happening with Bitcoin, all the FUD, all the information? You got China shutting down mining. You know, a lot of that's moving out to Texas. Supposedly Texas is trying to soak up that, you know, the mining economy, right? So what is your thoughts? What's your sentiments on the market with Bitcoin? Where do you think we're heading?
Yeah, so the reason I think it's interesting to talk about this right now is because there's so much FUD right now, right? Especially from China. So it started around the time when Elon started with the whole Tesla and energy debates and Tesla accepting Bitcoin and not, and back and forth, you know, all these kind of things. And then China came on the map again, which they do basically every 2 years or 3 years, especially during bull runs. They love coming out during bull runs, you know. And they basically came out firstly to bash mining again, right? Or to ban mining again, or bash against mining again. And initially everybody was thinking like, they're just, you know, doing their thing every couple of years. They say that, but they don't actually do anything. But this time they actually did a lot, right? So like we're just saying, a lot of miners actually shut down or had to shut down their mining farms. And that's big because there's so much capital that is in those farms in terms of the buildings itself, right? Then the mining machines, the rigs, right? Everything that is connected to it, right? The labor as well. There's people maintaining those machines. So there's a lot of things that go into that, a lot of infrastructure around that industry, especially in provinces like Sichuan or other provinces where they're kind of like the capitals for mining in China, right? So what happened is they had to shut down. And like you were saying, then they shipped a lot of those hardware devices over to Texas, right? That's kind of like becoming the new mining spot. But what it did, it caused a lot of confusion because you actually see those pictures of miners that are now shut down and they're now, you know, being wrapped up and shipped to the US. So everybody thinks like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Obviously, the hash rate of the Bitcoin network, of the Bitcoin blockchain dropped as well because a lot of miners were just unplugged from the Bitcoin blockchain, right? Yes.
Yeah. Can you explain to people what that means, the hash rate? So what does that mean we have a lot of new people on our channel. What does that mean that the hash rate got cut down?
Yeah. So think about in 2010, right? There was just you could mine Bitcoins from your laptop. Why? Because not many people were mining it, right? So this mathematical sequence that your computer had to resolve could literally be done from your laptop at home because not many people were doing it. It was not competitive. But as more and more people started to mine it, the difficulty went up, meaning that it's more difficult. It requires more energy to resolve that mathematical puzzle in order to create a block, right? So, and then at the same time, not only did more people join, but also, well, when I say people, I don't mean actual individuals, I mean computers, right? Laptops initially, then actual computers, and then something that is called ASIC miners, right? So those are hardware devices that are only built for the sole purpose to verify transactions and secure the Bitcoin blockchain, right? So they're like purpose-built computers from companies like Bitmain. I'm not sure if you guys heard of that. But this company had a huge explosion in 2017, 2018, right, with the previous bull cycle. Then there was even discussions about them doing an IPO, which never happened. And I think nowadays they lost a lot of business simply because also they had a bit of shady management and insider things going on. But so that's what happens, right? The more computers join the network, especially those high performing computers, right, that are able to verify transactions faster simply because they have computational power, I should say, the more difficult it gets to create a block. So the hash rate goes up, which is theoretically a good thing, because the higher the hash rate, the harder it is to attack the Bitcoin blockchain. Okay, so just think about like energy translates into cost to attack the network, or hash power translates into cost of attacking the network, right? So that's why Bitcoiners love when the hash rate goes up, right? But at the same time, you could also make the argument that, you know, it also centralizes the whole mining industry, because those manufacturers that build those miners have more control, right? Because they just build devices. They know, you know, they have the control. They can just mine themselves, right? So it's like, just imagine if Amazon would start to sell products that Amazon sellers are selling like crazy, and they just would sell it themselves, right? Because they own the marketplace. So that's kind of like the monopoly that we've seen, or not a monopoly, but you know, couple of big players that have ruled the game. But now that seems to be breaking up, right? So that was the first thing. So a little excursion to mining, but that was the first thing. And I've lived in China. I've seen those farms. They're huge farms, right? I can't even imagine how it's now that they're all have, you know, shut down and shipped to the US and shipped to other places around the world. I think Kazakhstan is also pretty cheap in terms of electricity cost, and Russia, right? So all these other countries are now benefiting from that. So you've seen that, and then you've also seen China. This is brand new over the past few days now, that China came out and said, not only are we going against mining and against those mining farms, but we're also going against companies allowing transactions, right? Or sorry, banks allowing transactions, right, with crypto, interacting with crypto, but even companies that offer office spaces for crypto startups, right? So they're now really doing the 360 to kind of get rid of a lot of crypto innovation, which is bad on one side, but at the same time, I lived in China again. There's so many scams that are coming from there, literally ripping people off. A lot of, you know, Ponzi schemes like Plus Token. I don't even know how they're all called. OneCoin, right? There's billions of dollars that are floating into those scams that are literally operating out of those offices there in Shenzhen, Shanghai, Beijing. So they are obviously trying to ban that, but at the same time, a negative side effect is they're also hindering innovation from solid development in the crypto industry, right? From solid developers who want to contribute into building the next generation of DeFi or NFTs or whatever, right? It's all coming from China. A lot of innovation is coming from China. Not all, obviously, but a lot of innovation coming from China. So that's the thing, right? But I talked to a guy today. He's in Hong Kong, and he told me that, man, we basically have kind of insider information that this dump that we had over the past couple of weeks, this whole negativity and sell pressure, it's all coordinated. It's all coordinated. It's all insider market manipulation, which I don't find even surprising, right? Because the crypto industry is still so small. The liquidity on exchanges, which basically determines the price, is so thin that you can literally manipulate the price if the top 10 or top 20 whales around the world, which could be individual billionaires, which could be mining farms, which could be exchange operators, right? Like Bybit, like Binance, like Huobi and OKX, they're all in China. Surprise, surprise. So if they would just talk to each other like, hey, bro, you want to dump the price now? We can short Bitcoin and, you know, make some money with it. Why not? Let's do it. So it's easy to do that. It's easy to do that. And yeah, we've seen that. I think the target price was 20K. That's what I've been told. I don't know. But we've seen 28, 29. So not that far off, you know, from 63. Solid job from them. But who suffers in the end? Retail suffers.
We do,
Guys that buy the Shiba Inu top and the Dogecoin top, you know, because they think, oh, that's a cute dog logo, and Elon is tweeting about it. Let's buy it. Let's go all in. Like, those guys are unfortunately getting wrecked, you know, but it's all still manipulated because it's managed by the same people that also manipulate the Forex markets and any other market, right? So those are my thoughts.
And that's why you have to have a game plan. Because think about it, the stock market, they do the same exact thing. Hedge funds, they do the same exact thing. It's going to move. That system is going to move over to the crypto. It's happening right now, right? And so one of the things too, do you think it's good for Bitcoin? Like for example, everything moving over to Texas, that's creating, because people are saying, oh, it's so scary because everything's in China, all the mining's in China, not all of it's in China, but it moving over to Texas and kind of spreading a little bit. Is there benefit to that, getting that more broadly spread out across the world?
Definitely, yeah, sure. I mean, Texas, I think, has also been a good solid mining location before the whole China FUD came up. But the thing is, if Texas now becomes the new Sichuan, it doesn't change anything, right?
Right.
So the dependencies are the same. What I still think is the case here, however, is that Bitcoin is still decentralized enough for it to now become too centralized and dependent from one single jurisdiction, one single area, right? And we've actually seen this now. So this was always the question for years now in crypto, and in the whole crypto and Bitcoin industry. What will happen if one day China shuts down all their miners? Now it happened, and now we see what happens. Well, sure, we have some short-term price volatility. The hash rate dropped a lot, but they just shift, right?
Yeah.
You can't stop it. That's the beauty about the decentralized ledger technology, this third triple entry accounting model, right? You can't shut it down. It just runs. It just runs by itself.
Yeah.
No matter if it's validating transactions from Germany, from Portugal, from Arizona, from Texas, or from Shanghai, it doesn't matter, or from other planets eventually, right? So that's the thing, right? And I think Bitcoin is definitely decentralized enough to absorb that and to not collapse, right? That would probably have been the case 8 or 10 years ago, but not now. The cat is already, how you say that in English, like the genie is already out of the bottle, people are running nodes. I think there's around 10,000 nodes around the world, in every single country, like literally in like many countries. So
that was an important thing that I'm so glad you said that, because I thought about that. I'm like, okay, it wasn't FUD. They actually shut down the mining, right? And then it moved, and then Bitcoin's still solid. It just keeps showing over and over again that it's here to stay, right? So when people say, oh, something's a bubble, when something is a scheme or a bubble, it'll go down to zero, like Enron, when Enron collapsed, right? Well, Bitcoin's biggest collapse, it went down to what, $3,000, and it's like, so it's not, something will go to zero if it's fake or if it's a fraud, right? It's not going to ever maintain value, and so it's only just continued to go up, get its all-time highs, coming back down to support levels. And so I think that what this tells me is people can take a deep breath and understand crypto is here to stay, and seeing what the billionaires are doing. I mean, the billionaires are making massive moves. I was mentioning, the Soros fund, the lady, the CIO, when they asked her if she was in Bitcoin, she laughed uncontrollably and then said, I'm not answering that question. Well, that's the obvious answer, right? Ray Dalio, a billionaire, says he would rather have Bitcoin than a bond. You got Elon Musk fudding Bitcoin back and forth. You got Michael Saylor, heavy in Bitcoin. You got BlackRock, one of the biggest companies that controls everything in the world, is the number one investor in MicroStrategies. The number one shareholder in MicroStrategies is BlackRock. And so people are saying, well, BlackRock's not in Bitcoin, but I used to be on the board of directors for Habitat for Humanity, right? The CEO reports to the board of directors. The CEO cannot make decisions financially unless they approve it with the board of directors, if it's a big financial decision. So there's no way that Michael Saylor didn't have to go to BlackRock, the number one investor in their company, and say, hey, listen, we're going to make some really big moves with our money. We're going to move a bunch of our assets into Bitcoin. There's no way. If BlackRock was the number one holder, they had to have known about that transaction. So hopefully it gives people peace of mind that crypto's here to stay. I think the biggest thing for people is developing discipline through these times, because everybody wants the excitement. It's, everybody's, you'll see it even with the YouTubers, with crypto YouTubers, with TikTok, with Instagram. When we go sideways, your views go down because people are like, it's not interesting anymore. Let me get caught up on something else. the key is to learn discipline, right? You've been in it. I mean, I'm so impressed. You've been in it. We talk about it all the time since 2017. You've stayed strong. You've stayed disciplined. You even went through a collapse and you learned from it, right? And you gained knowledge from it. And now you're still in the crypto space. I think that's going to be the difference maker, you know, and I never claimed to be some crypto expert. That's why I keep surrounding myself with crypto experts or people who know a lot more than me so I can continue to learn. The thing that I did is I sped up my education by spending 8 to 9 hours a day researching this, you know, and understanding banking perspective. So now as we sit right now with July 7th, there's all kinds of things coming up. You know, shared with me with Ethereum on July 14th. I think it got moved to August 4th. Is that right?
Right. It got moved. Yeah. But
yeah.
At least we have a date now. I think that's good, and it's close. I mean, still 3 weeks. It doesn't matter to me. You know, those things are completely normal in crypto. Things get delayed, and obviously, the thing is also you have to think about, why do those things get delayed? Is that a marketing stunt? Are they trying to play with their own community? But you have to think about this. Ethereum is a $200 billion network, a decentralized network worth more than $200 billion, right? There's, I think, 900 or even a million, let's say 900,000 weekly active users on Ethereum, right? More than on Bitcoin. So imagine you are one of the core developers and you want to upgrade or implement a huge upgrade, a fundamental upgrade. You want to be not just 100, not just 1,000, not just a million, 100 billion% sure that this thing works, right?
Yes.
So and that's also one thing that Vitalik said a couple of years ago, the founder of Ethereum. He said, he was asked, what is the one thing that you regret about Ethereum? And he said, I regret that I launched it too quickly because I got pressurized from investors, from the community, from everyone, because he could have saved 4 or 5 years of, you know, what Ethereum did in the past 4 or 5 years. He could have saved that time probably if you just waited for another year, innovating, designing the protocol, and start with where ETH2 is now coming out next year, right? So you could have just saved that, but obviously external influences pressurize that. So if you recognize the value of Ethereum, for example, or any other, whatever your favorite coin is, don't get too disappointed when deadlines are not met, right? Deadlines are never met, especially in decentralized world where there's so many parties involved, so many developers that have different opinions, then the community, and this, then that, you know. So I'm not surprised. I'm not disappointed at all. I'm excited, looking forward when it comes. Even if it comes in December, I don't care. But it's gonna come. So.
Now, to provide some clarity, so people are saying, so ETH 2.0 and what is it, EIP 1559, that's two different things, correct?
Yeah. So EIP 1559 is one big step towards ETH2, right? So ETH2 is basically, if you think about it like that, ETH2 is the transition phase, right? So it ends with the Serenity hard fork, I think it's called, which comes out sometimes next year. But from ETH1 to ETH2, there's several hard forks that lead towards that, right? And then the final hard fork is just like the last implementation that really makes it scalable. But there's several small steps, actually major steps, that lead towards that vision of ETH2, right? And this hard fork that is called the London hard fork, which is what brings EIP 1559. EIP basically just stands for Ethereum Improvement Proposal, right? Number 1559. It's just not a fancy name. But what it brings is it makes ETH ultra scarce because it changes the fee model, right? And then there's going to be other hard forks in the future that change other parts of Ethereum, right? So they go one step at a time. But I would say like that, EIP 1559 is one part of ETH2. So part of the transition toward ETH2.
And we keep hearing that Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin. What do you think?
I actually said that like this time around a year ago. I said that, man, I think that one day Ethereum, maybe not even a day far off in the future, I think soon is going to flip Bitcoin, right? And we've seen on-chain data suggesting that this is going to happen pretty soon, actually, maybe even this year. And Ethereum has caught up a lot on Ethereum has caught up a lot on Bitcoin's value over the past couple of months. It's only a 2.6x away from Bitcoin in terms of market cap, right? Which is not much. So yeah, I mean, transaction fees that are accrued on-chain transaction fees are already much higher than on Bitcoin. The weekly active users, much higher than Bitcoin, flipped it for the first time, I think, a couple of weeks ago in end of April, and then now again early July. So a lot of indicators that show ETH is probably going to flip Bitcoin. Yeah.
Now, one thing, so what does that mean? Like, I just want to educate our viewers, right? Because one thing I really want to pride ourselves on both of our channels is educating people, because the more educated you are in something, the less likely you're going to get caught in pump and dumps, right? Because the more you know, the more you understand, the better foundation you'll have. So what does it mean when ETH flips Bitcoin? Because people, they'll say that, and we watch YouTubers, but what does it mean when ETH flips Bitcoin?
Yeah, so there's a site, I wanted to pull it up now, but I don't remember how it's called. It's something like the Great Flippening or something like that. I don't know, but you can check that out at home, and it basically shows different parameters, different indicators on which Ethereum flips Bitcoin, right? But obviously, what everybody refers to is a market capitalization, right? It's a market cap. Like I said, transaction fees, active users, active wallets, ETH has already flipped Bitcoin, right? So the fundamentals are basically front running the price here. And
is this it?
Yeah, this is, I think, the market cap.
Okay.
That's just the market cap. But if I think there's another site where it tells you different indicators.
The Great Flippening. Let's see. Bitcoin, Ether, the Flippening Watch, Ethereum versus Bitcoin.
Check that out. Yes. Maybe that's the one.
This is fun.
I don't know.
No.
Well, here it at least shows you the market cap, the trading volume, and the mining reward, right? So mining reward, which is basically the rewards that get paid out to the miners. Ethereum has already flipped Bitcoin. Trading volume, we're at 92%, right? So we're almost there. The only thing that's missing is the market cap, means the price, right? But given that EIP 1559 makes Ethereum ultra scarce, even more scarce than Bitcoin, price has to go up.
Yeah.
Right. According to that.
So what does that mean? Could it do something like Bitcoin? Does that mean like it could go to 60,000 like Bitcoin, or am I missing the mark there?
I mean, there's approximately 4 times more ETH than BTC, right? There's like 18.5 million Bitcoin right now in circulation, and a bit over 100 million ETH. How many is it? 105, 110, something like that. So a bit over 4 times more. So for Ethereum to reach Bitcoin's market cap, it should be at around $8,500 right now per ETH. And to be honest, that's not unthinkable, right?
Right. That's awesome. I'm going to buy some more ETH right now.
No financial advice, guys. No financial advice.
No financial advice. You're getting, hey, let's get some. Awesome. So exactly. We're not financial advisors, just having these great conversations to learn and grow. And that's one of the biggest things, is really educate yourself, warriors. Don't get caught in pump and dump schemes. Don't be chasing getting rich quick overnight. And that's one of the biggest ways to get wrecked. That's how I was when I first got in the crypto space, to be honest with you, until I started to mature and educate myself. I was jumping, I was doing yield farming. I was doing okay, there's nothing wrong with that if you know what you're doing, but I was trying to get rich quick, and I lost a lot of money very quickly. And finally I was like, okay, I need to mature up. I need to get a fundamental portfolio, just like I would do if I was in the banking sector. I'd build a broad portfolio, hedging against certain different things, so I have a nice DeFi portfolio, NFT, cryptocurrencies. I'm not in Bitcoin, but I'm heavily in Ethereum, and I'm going to buy more Ethereum. But share with me, what are some things you're focused on right now? I know you're super disciplined in the space. What are you focused on?
Yeah. So one thing to add to that, obviously, what I'm doing here with you as well, and I think that's what you're also doing. We're just kind of like documenting our journey, right, and just sharing our day-to-day experiences, right? And obviously, I've been in the space now for 4.5 years. You came from a whole different angle, the banking industry. So you have completely different experiences that you can share, right? That are valuable to the people. It doesn't mean that everything that we say now is the ultimate truth, right?
Right.
We can also be wrong. Ethereum can go to 0 tomorrow if it gets hacked, right? If there's I don't know how much multiple billions are already locked in the ETH2 smart contract, which is that transition, because you also have to transition from proof of work to proof of stake. There's already billions of dollars in that smart contract. If that smart contract has a bug, gets exploited, or gets hacked, I don't think Ethereum is going to go to 10K. I mean, it can go to a few $100s. It can also go to zero, right? If it gets hacked.
Mhm.
So we never know. It's all incredibly risky, right? So that's the main thing. Yeah, so you asked me what other things I'm looking at. And to be honest, I know I keep repeating myself week after week,
Cosmos.
but
Cosmos.
it's man, it's a game
I love
of Cosmos, man.
Love it. No, speak it, man. Share with us. Let's dive into Cosmos. And it's because it's important to you. Like, for example, XRP is really important to me, and it doesn't mean it has to be important to other people. That's one thing. I had a gentleman on my channel. He goes, I don't even like XRP. I'm like, that's fine. I don't care if you. It's all about learning and growing together. I'm obsessed with XRP because I'm an ex-banker. I literally, if I owned a bank again, or I never owned a bank, I ran banks. But if I owned my own bank, I'd hire XRP like that, man, in a second. Because I would become the best at customer service. I would get that liquidity freed up, and I would start lending. I mean, it would be a game changer when I went there, because I went through executive banking school. We scaled banks, right? We had to scale it in this in a, what do you call it, in a simulation, right? You had to actually build the bank in a simulation. If I had XRP for my liquidity and moving money across the rails, I would become the best customer service bank. I'd open up a bunch of ATMs. I'd close down my brick and mortars. I'd just have a couple just for my high value clients, and I'd get that money moving as fast as possible and feed the crap out of people. That's what I would do, man. And I would use XRP or XLM for my consumers, and I'd use XRP for my commercial banks. And so but Cosmos, it's important.
That's awesome. Let me say one thing to that, because I also watched your full video on Flare Network, which was great, by the way, very, very valuable. How everybody shared his opinion on it. So I'm not chain maximalist of any chain, right? You hear me talk good things about Bitcoin. You hear me talk bad things about Bitcoin. Same for Ethereum. And I'm also going to criticize things or question things on Cosmos or on Polkadot, Cardano, right? On XRP, on all those chains, right? No chain is perfect. We're still super early, immature, and experimental, right? But I think I wanted to also get you on my channel one day to talk about these things, to talk about XRP, talk about XLM, talk about Flare Network, right? Because that's where you're super deep into it. So I'm going to invite you to my channel to interview you. This is overdue, actually, long time already. So that's one thing. And regarding Cosmos, I mean, there's different layers in the blockchain economy, right? So you have layer one solutions like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, like Solana, like Cardano, even XRP Ledger, right? It's a sole technology, a layer one. Then you have layer twos, which are applications that run on top of it, right? So you have, for example, Aave, then you have Compound, you have Synthetics, you have hundreds, thousands, eventually millions of decentralized applications that run on those ledgers. But what we need something underneath that makes all of them compatible to each other, right?
Gotcha.
Otherwise, imagine the internet was like that. You have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have CoinMarketCap, right? You want to access those sites. And for each of the sites, you have to download a separate browser. That would suck. Right? Nobody would use the internet. The internet would probably fail if we hadn't that.
Yeah.
What we have in the internet, luckily, is the TCP/IP protocol, which makes all of that compatible to each other, right? So what we need a TCP/IP standard for the blockchain economy, for the not just blockchain economy, but for the DLT economy, right? The XRP ledger is not a classic blockchain. What Hedera Hashgraph is using is not a classic blockchain, right? It has different logic, different consensus logic built in. So we need to have something that connects the dots, right? Basically builds bridges between those chains. And that's what Cosmos is doing. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm a big fan of Cosmos, is because they're not exclusive. They're not saying like, oh, we're much faster than Ethereum, we're gonna kill Ethereum, or no, we're our founder has a prettier face than this founder, so this chain is gonna lose, we're gonna win. They're not like that. They say, in the best case, what we envision is a future with millions of blockchains, and they all have their application-specific use cases in banking, in supply chain, in social media, in entertainment industries, in NFTs, right? Different token standards, different use cases, different geographics, demographics, you name it, right? They're just different. People are different. It's simple as that. So that ideology resonates so much with me that I honestly, I'm spending most of my time just researching about it, researching on how does Cosmos work, how is the ecosystem evolving, and how is the DeFi ecosystem also evolving. And that's also one of the most important things and what most exciting things right now is that the Cosmos DeFi ecosystem is being born right now. We talked about this last time on about osmosis. I think I briefly mentioned it, but it's the first decentralized exchange that is cross-chain compatible. And I think yesterday it crossed $100 million in value locked, right? So TVL is the metrics. If you want to have an analytical data point to kind of measure what is the value of the protocol, the total value locked is the number to look at because it basically tells you how much money do people lock into that contract, right? Whether it's a DeFi loan, right? On Flare Network, you're also going to have that. You're going to have TVL, right? Because it's a DeFi, it unlocks DeFi. So Osmosis crossed 100 million. Gravity Dex is around the corner, and today they announced another product that is called Emeris, which is basically one interface that gives access to all different blockchains, right? So you can yield farm on Ethereum chain, you can yield farm on the Cardano chain, on the Solana chain, right? Obviously, that is now today being announced and takes a while to build. But those things resonate a lot with me in my ideology, you know. So that's why I'm a big Cosmos bull. and
that makes sense too, like to talk about barrier. So the biggest thing that I see and the biggest issue and why the market's so immature, that's what I really didn't understand Cosmos at that level, and thank you for that, because it's all about barrier to entry. And that's, so you think about baby boomers, that's where a lot of the wealth is at right now, with baby boomers 50 and over, right? And so it's all about barrier to entry. Now, what does that mean? So in marketing, you know this, right? The more somebody has to click on something, the further they have to go down the rabbit hole, the less they're going to buy a product. So if it's click and buy, it's much quicker, much more efficient. That's why Instagram's getting on these click and buy type things. Like click, you go right to the site, right? But if somebody has to go to my link tree, they click on the Warrior Academy, they got to click here, they got to click here. The more, so it's called barrier to entry. The more difficult it is to get a cryptocurrency, the less somebody's going to do it, right? And so what I see with Cosmos is bringing everything together to reduce that friction and that barrier to entry, just like XRP is reducing the friction of cross-border payments. And so like Tika Tawari was talking about, I got to figure out what, I haven't figured out what protocol he's talking about, but he kept talking about barrier to entry. I think it's in a DeFi protocol that he's developing or he's part of, that he talked about barrier to entry. The less barrier to entry there is, the more people are going to come in. And that's why the market, I believe it's very, because I look at it from a fundamental perspective. Like, for example, I love Crypto.com. The reason why I bring it up, because my mom still writes checks and can buy crypto on Crypto.com. And it's very easy to use, right? It's very basic. You can just buy your crypto. You can hold it on there. It's very easy to transfer. It's very easy to figure out, easy to connect your bank account. And so what I see Cosmos doing is bringing that barrier to entry, bringing everything together. So you can just go to Google, just like going to Google, and you can pull in all these things, right? Am I seeing that correctly? Like it makes, so I'm not having to go here and here and here all over the place.
And it's funny that you mentioned Crypto.com. I know you have a lot of CRO coins, at least you said this last time. But Crypto.com is also built on the Cosmos SDK. It's a Cosmos product, actually. Most people don't know that, right?
No.
But the technology stack is built on Cosmos. And CRO, the coin of Crypto.com, has been one of the 9 first coins that were listed on Osmosis, because it also implements IBC, which is this TCP/IP standard. So it's compatible to everything that's happening on Cosmos, and everything that's ever going to come on Cosmos, CRO is compatible with it. And you can literally hold self-custody. You can put your coins to work for you in different ways. Wow. You can provide liquidity with Atom pairs, with Osmo pairs. You can earn crazy yields there. And that's what DeFi is about, right? You hold your keys and you generate your own yield, right? So that's beautiful. And you're seeing that correctly. I mean, it's all about simplicity. It's also kind of probably about branding as well. But I think Cosmos is doing a great job. You know, the universe, and the product that now comes out is Gravity. So it's like Gravity back down to Earth, and you have cool brandings there and cool things you can do there. But it's all about decreasing friction, making it as simple and as easy for the end users, because it's all about conversions in the end of the day, right? And I think a lot is also about game theory, right? So how do you incentivize people to, one, come to your platform, right? You need to get traffic. And then 2, how do you retain them, right? They have to stay in your platform. It's no difference than Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, right? Most of what they do is branding and is branding and game theory, right? And the same is in applications nowadays. So that's probably the bottom line of where the next couple of months are heading. Probably a very competitive landscape of game theoretic incentives from those DeFi applications, right? Cardano is going to launch fully. Flare Network brings a lot of value now, unlocking the value of XRP and also Dogecoin and other chains, right?
Yes.
So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for small guys like us, for small retailers to be in there early. And you don't have to be early in Cosmos. You don't have to be early. Just pick one platform that you like, that resonates with you. For me, it's Cosmos. For you, maybe Flare. For you, it might be another chain, Ethereum, Cardano, whatever, Solana. But if you go down that rabbit hole, there's going to be huge opportunities over the next couple of months. So that's my takeaway.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you with it. Especially when just pick something and be fundamental and stick with it. Because if you get in the right protocol and you really understand it, that's why, CRO, people like, oh, people are calling me a CRO shill now. It's so funny. It's like, people are like, you mentioned CRO, you're paid by CRO or XRP. I'm like, I wish I was. Where's my check at? But I just get it. I understand it. It's easy to use. And they just signed with the UFC, actually. That's pretty cool. So they're going to be on, just came out today. Yeah, they're going to be on,
right?
Yeah, when they walk out. What's that?
It's a 10-year deal, right?
10-year deal. And then Formula One, too. If you see the cars going around, you can see Crypto.com. These guys are going to be walking out with their warm-ups with Crypto.com. And that's predictive programming. I mean, people see that over and over and over again, because that goes back into the marketing piece. Because you can have the best protocol in the world. You can have the best product in the world. But if you don't have a good marketing team, you don't have good leadership or capital, you're done. I mean, it doesn't matter how great the spread, if I could turn this water bottle, because I'm good at marketing and I'm good at leading, I could probably take this water bottle and sell it to millions of people if I wanted to, because it's a great water bottle, but it's really good. But if it's in the wrong leadership hands, people don't have the capital, right? It's all about the marketing's key too. I think that's one of the biggest things too, and then you got to look at leadership teams, in my opinion, when you're looking at crypto. That's why, people are like, oh, you're big on XRP, but I look at the leadership team, the board of directors, where they're coming from. Rosie Rios came from the Treasury. You got people who wrote Executive Order 13772 are literally on their team, like the board of directors. I'm like, okay, like these guys are connected heavily. So what are some things that we're right at the back end here? So what are some things you'd like to share with the listeners? Where can we find you as well? There's a lot of new people on right now.
Yeah, obviously on YouTube. Recently, I've done so much Cosmos content, Osmosis, also like sharing firsthand user experiences. How do you provide liquidity on Osmosis? Because some people sometimes get stuck there. And then in my Telegram group, we also talk about these things, and help each other. Like, man, what do you recommend? Which pools, which coins, blah, blah, blah. So this is the main thing. And then on Twitter also, actually, I have a big win to share. I got I don't know if I'm elected or there's a site, it's called Lunar. What is it called? Lunar Crush, and it basically tracks the activity of kind of influencers on Twitter, right? So today I'm the first number one ranked influencer on Atom on Cosmos. So that's
congratulations. That's
I didn't know that they were tracking that, but it tracks your activity, your tweet activity, and stuff like that. So apparently my Cosmos content is being seen a lot recently. And that's great, because I think it's I'm super confident in the people behind it. I've had a couple of people on in the past, and actually in 15 minutes, I'm talking to the CEO behind the CEO of Tendermint, which is the biggest contributor to the Cosmos network. So super exciting stuff there. The video is probably going live in 2 hours, like right when we finish the conversation. I want to bring it out as quick as possible.
Cool.
But yeah, so those are the things you can find there. But other than that, I also want to keep covering other projects. Like I said, Algorand is super interesting to me. Hedera Hashgraph, right? Also, we talked so much about CBDCs a couple of weeks and months ago. I think we should also catch up on that maybe next time, right? There's so much progress on those ends. And this has also been one of my predictions that for the second half of the year, we're going to see probably one major or a couple of smaller nations coming out and embedding public infrastructure like Ethereum, like Algorand, like Cosmos, like whatever, into their national currency system, right? I didn't know that El Salvador was accepting Bitcoin as legal tender. This came out of nowhere, but great to see. But yeah, those things are super interesting to me as well, because it's a fundamental shift in our economy. in finance, how money works, central banking, right? You know that better than anybody.
Yeah.
So it's a very exciting industry. And again, those short-term fluctuations and FUD and China here, China there, India here, India there, doesn't really matter, right?
No.
Stick to your
Yep.
fundamentals, stick to your favorite coins, your favorite projects, and you don't have to explain to anybody why you like this coin. Just go with it. Go down the rabbit hole. If you believe in the fundamentals and are, part of and use those products as well. Most people don't even use the products. If you just use the products, you're gonna do extremely well, I guess. So yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate you, man. I thank you so much for being on our channel. You've taught me so much. Again, whereas the exit strategy that I used was because CryptoCITO brought that up to me. So, my sentiments to everybody is don't go into this crypto game without a plan. Have a plan, guys. It's just like, imagine training for the Super Bowl, right? So say things go parabolic on the back end of the year. You're not going to go in the Super Bowl without a game plan, right? And what happens when the quarterback goes outside the game plan? They lose the game. So just make sure you have a game plan. Make sure you surround yourself with like-minded people. Make sure you're not around a bunch of pump and dumpers, get rich quick people. Just stay focused on fundamentals. Find a couple YouTubers that you really enjoy listening to, but also make your own decisions, as CryptoCITO said. Find something you really enjoy, fall in love with it, and follow all the way through. I think it was Jim Rickards that said, if you came out of college or whatever, and you only got to pick 20 investments for the rest of your life, you would study the living crap out of those. You would understand them. And so pretend that you have 20 investments, that's it, and you have to understand them like the back of your hand, and you'll do really, really well because you'll know what's going on with the leadership team, the fundamentals. You'll see the market moving along with it, but understand where's hopefully what you got out of this is crypto is here to stay. Stay patient, stay disciplined, and as you always say, warriors rise. Make sure you get your shit together. Talk to you soon, guys. Love you guys.